If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Wednesday, November 6, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. Last weekend, one of the most exciting college dual meets took place in Ohio as Division III rivals Denison and Kenyon offered up a preview of the NCAA championships. Denison managed to win both the men's and women's meets, but it was not easy. Joining me today in the Finis Monitor is Gregg Parini, who is in his 27th year as head coach at Denison. Coach, it's good to see you. How are you today?
I'm fine, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're out here in Phoenix. It's kind of fall. We kind of feel a little bit of a chill in the air. Probably not as much as you do out there in Ohio.
Yeah, well, it's always sunny in Ohio. The leaves are changing. We're just getting ready for winter. It's a beautiful day here.
Well, before we talk about this dual meet you guys had last weekend, I want to talk about your longevity at Denison. 27 years as head coach. Have you ever had any offers to go take your talents elsewhere?
Well, I've been very fortunate to be working at Denison for as long as I've had. We've had great support here. There's been a little bit of interest out there, from other schools, but it's staying at a place like Denison and being in a place like Granville has always been a family decision for us, and been absolutely thrilled to be here for as long as we have.
What keeps you at Denison every year? What motivates you to always want to stay and keep you happy there?
Well, I think a big part of it is just the fact that I get a chance to wear multiple hats. I'm much more than just a swimming coach here at Denison, as I get a chance to be, I'm also a professor, and the fact that I'm on a smaller campus allows me to interface with faculty members regularly. I think there's a real sense of collegiality between, departments here. I think there's a real affinity between the academic sector of the college and what we're trying to do here in athletics. And for me, it strikes a certain harmony that I think underscores the real value of what undergraduate education is all about.
Yeah, talk about the balance of being working in the classroom and working on the pool deck. How do you manage to balance all that out? I'm sure both jobs require a lot of work.
Well, I think the roles are very similar. I think the type of goals, the types of things that we're striving for in the classroom are very similar to the type of goals that we're setting in the pool, and that's to advance our students. In the classroom, it might be intellectually, and in the pool, it might be athletically. But I think that there's a convergence of those two things. And I think, like I said, I just think it's fundamental to a place like Denison that we're trying to do both. I think the role of the teacher, the role of the professor, and the role of the coach are basically the same, and that's to, like I said, just to bring our students along.
What are you teaching there at Denison?
Well, I actually have a new teaching responsibility this year. We have a first-year studies class or program here at Denison, and I'm teaching a course in basically on the concept of wellness and what involves having a health lifestyle across a lot of different parameters, whether it's physical or whether it's nutritional, whether it's spiritual or mental or cognitive, or psychological wellness. It's really been an interesting exploration, and what makes it even more so is I'm working with all first-year students.
Do you have any of your swimmers taking any of your classes at all?
Not this semester, and that's kind of unusual for me. I usually have one or two of the swimmers in my class, but this was a late addition to the curriculum. I was asked fairly late in the summer to take this class on. I was really excited to get back, to teach it, because again, I've never taught a first-year class before, and I'm looking forward to doing it down the road. So maybe next year I'll have some.
Is that ever cause any weirdness either for the swimmers or for you to kind of have these guys in your class and then come back later and swim practice?
No, I think it's a perfect circle in a lot of ways. I think it's great. I think it's great for the kids to see me in a different light off the deck. I think they get to know me in a way that they might not otherwise see me in a fairly intense competitive environment like swimming is. But I also get a chance to see them in a different light too. I get to see how important their academic and intellectual pursuits are, and again, I think that's just been the real draws and attractions to staying at a place like Denison. There's not many coaches out there who get a chance to do the sorts of things that I'm doing right now.
Well, I'm sure another draw is just having a great group of swimmers there, and dual meets like you had last week definitely proved that. The men, as I said, beat Kenyon by 7 points, really close, and the women by 28 points. It kind of was a little bit of deja vu to the 2011 NCAA championships where Denison beat Kenyon by just 1 point. I noticed something, that diving was a big saving grace for you guys. Diving outscored Kenyon 32-6, so definitely looks like hiring Russ Bertram was a good decision for you guys.
Well, we're absolutely thrilled that Russ is with us. We feel very fortunate to have brought somebody in with his qualifications. We're losing Jason to UVA was tough, but a great move for him and a well-deserved advancement in his career. But having Russ here, it's been about as seamless a transition as you could possibly have. And diving's always been very important to Denison, and we've always invested a great deal in it. I think that's reflected in the quality of the facility that we've built recently. And so it makes sense that diving would be a big piece of our success, as it was over the last several years. And so, it certainly played a role in the meets this past weekend, especially on the men's side.
I'm sure a lot of the athletes you had were swimming tired. It's the middle of the season, a lot of hard work going on in the pool. But what transpired in the swimming competition that stood out for you the most?
Well, we had a meet the night before with Ohio State, Virginia Tech, and Cleveland State. We swam them on Friday night, and then turned around and swam Kenyon on Saturday. And we've been doing this for a few years now, and we like the opportunity. We like the challenge of really having to rise to the occasion, back to back, basically within 18 hours of each other. And again, we're in the middle of heavy training, and we're tired, but getting a chance to swim against a quality program and team like Kenyon is, it's a natural pump up. I mean, there's, the rivalry, speaks for itself, and the kids get excited, and I think that allows us to overcome a lot of maybe some of the fatigue that we might be feeling in any other, let's say, more typical dual meet.
So it probably makes you excited as a coach to know that when they're tired, obviously just having swum a dual meet in the middle of training, that they could still step up and beat this in-state and NCAA rival. Obviously, there's a lot of weaknesses, I'm sure, like every team has, things to work on. Anything you see that's going to present a challenge for you to get the team better leading up to March?
Well, sure. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do. Kenyon's an outstanding team. They got an outstanding coach. They got a great program, and I thought both teams swam very well this past weekend. And we've got a lot of work to do. Whether it's on both sides of the gender line, and whether it's just fine tuning or whether it's just getting up to race speed and, swimming with maybe a little bit more presence and confidence, and, and trying to massage maybe our race plans out a little bit more. We've got some kids swimming some new events, and we've got some young swimmers on both sides who are still playing with, new techniques and new race strategies. So we've got a lot of work to do between now and February and March.
Obviously, Kenyon's a big, as I said, big rival for you guys. Why have the meet in the beginning of November as opposed to maybe earlier in the season or closer to the championship meet?
That's a great question. When I first got here, Jim Steen was coaching at Kenyon, and I think Jim and I both just kind of agreed, let's do it early so we didn't have to see each other too often. I think it was, but especially too close to the championships. I think the weight of the rivalry probably, if we had it later in the season, it might have been a detriment to both teams' development in the long run. I think it's a good early season measure for both teams, and I think it creates a good compass point for us for the rest of the season. I think it creates a certain amount of purpose in the season to have your rival, so early on.
Your next meet's not for another month, the Miami Invite,
Yeah.
beginning of December. Is that going to be a shave and taper meet?
We have not decided on that. We're really not sure what we're going to do with that yet. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how healthy we are getting through the Thanksgiving holiday. Like a lot of teams, we've been nursing some injuries. We've had a few cases of mononucleosis on the team as well. We've got to get healthy. I think a lot of it will be dictated just on our state of health after the Thanksgiving holiday.
Well, it's a good decision to make.
Thanks.
One of the swimmers that really has stood out for me as I've been kind of watching you guys over the years is Al Week. This is his senior year, 7-time national champion, going for a 4th straight 1650 national title. What stands out with him that makes him such a special swimmer?
I think it's his competitive nature more than anything. He's got some really impressive technical skills, especially in the freestyle. He's pretty technically challenged in the other 3 strokes, but as far as freestylers go, he's probably the cleanest freestyler that I've had in the middle distance and distance free groups in my 27 years here. He's just got a real great feel for the water, connects really, really well with the hips, and prepares meticulously. He just really prepares at a high level. His practice performances are really outstanding, which at times can be kind of a detriment because he carries a lot of fatigue into his races, especially during the dual meet season. And as he's gotten older, and maybe we've had to, I think, do a little bit more. We've had to be a little more careful about how we monitor his fatigue levels because he just trains so hard. And he comes down to the pool every single day and gives us everything he has, and that works most of the time. But like most things, it can also work against him. And so but he is a tenacious competitor and a real technician when it comes to putting his races together.
Probably as coaches, a lot of coaches of distance swimmers worry about, you kind of probably worry about overtraining them.
Yeah, and I don't think we're not a high yardage program, but I would characterize this as a high intensity program. And we've got to be a little bit careful, crossing the line, beating up on that nervous system too much. You don't want to beat up on the neural pathways too often. And one of the issues that we've had with Al is, like I said, he brings so much intensity to his workouts. There are times when I've just purposely got to slow him down in practice and just give him some longer swims, which frankly he doesn't like. I mean, he detests anything longer and slower. Yet, I think he's learning to appreciate the value in those just in terms of some base conditioning. But like I said, he wants to race everything, but that can come with a cost if he's not careful.
Well, speaking of intensity, we've come to the most intense part of this interview, Coach. It's our final 5. These are 5 questions we ask all our guests to get to know them a little bit better. I'm sure you'll do just fine, though.
You've got me nervous, Jeff.
You'll do great. I'm sure you will. All right, first question. If you could change the order of the strokes in the individual medley, how would you change it?
Oh, wow. I think you got to start with the backstroke for sure. I kind of like it the way it is. I guess I'm not that smart. I'm sure you've had guests who've had more intelligent responses than that.
Well, you're not the only one to say stay the way it is, so be happy with that. Besides being a coach and a professor, what career would you like to try?
I would have loved to have been a songwriter and a guitarist. Okay. I would have loved to have been a songwriter. In fact, I play around with the guitar a lot, and I have a lot of fun with it. And I just wish I could write songs.
Well, we're discovering musical talent every time we do these interviews. It's great to hear that.
Oh, thanks.
All right, so on the opposite side of that, what's a career you would not like to try?
Oh, boy, there are so many. I think being at maybe desk and just sitting at a computer screen all day long would be just really, really challenging for me.
I'm sure. Next question. If you could change or add any rule in the swimming rule book, what would it be?
Honestly, I'd love to see us go back to the suits. I loved having the suits. I loved the new technologies. I thought it was a very exciting time for swimming. I know that the records went out the window with them, but I just love the energy that the new suits had brought to the sport. And I love innovation. I love the creativity that was going on, the engineering I thought was fascinating, and I would welcome that if we could get back to it.
Okay. Last question. Where do you like to go most for vacation?
Oh, probably Gregg Parini. There's a small town in northern Italy, which my family is from, and it's up in near Sesto Levante, and that's where I would like to go.
Okay, very nice. Where is that in Italy again?
It's in northern Italy. It's up near Sesto Levante, and it's where my family is from, and we still have relatives there, and it's in the Alps, and it's just like the most peaceful place on earth.
I'm sure it is. Sure it is. A great,
Yeah.
great place to get away from the stress and strain of
Absolutely.
coaching and teaching.
Absolutely.
Well, Greg, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on the dual meet wins, and looking forward to seeing how well Denison does the rest of the season.
Jeff, thanks so much. You have a great day.
You too.
Yeah.
All right, so we're keeping our eye on Division III swimming and diving competition here at Swimming World, and you can follow the latest college news on our college news channel at swimmingworld.com. That's going to wrap it up for today's Morning Swim Show. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.